What in the world is wrong with Cincinnati?
They can't play defense. They're not stopping anybody. And they have decent players, but you're not going to just like Trey Hendrickson can't do it by himself. He's their leading pass rusher, but they have very little outside of him. Cam Taylor-Britt, the pick six off the, controversial non-call call. I don't care. I mean, these receivers get enough calls. It's every now and then you deserve to not get a call and the defense benefit. I mean, I'm tired of people complaining about stuff like that. But Joe Burrow and this offense are literally doing every single thing they can to score 38 points, 3 touchdowns. He did have the interception, but in a losing effort, I mean, I've never seen a team score this many points in losses. I mean, they scored 33 plus in four losses this season. I mean, it's only happened once to any other team in the National Football League. One time. They've had it happen 4 times. That's awful by the defense. And I guess clearly you see where you need to invest next season, your money and your capital and all that, but you're going to have to pay these receivers. And you're going to have to draft defense. You're going to have to pay these receivers, or you don't pay the receivers and your offense takes a step back, and then your defense steps up and you're in the same boat because you're not scoring the most points. So I really don't know what you do. I know it's frustrating to be in that locker room. If you're Joe Burrow, you got to be saying, what more can I do? What more can I say? Jamar Chase, what more can I do? T. Higgins, what more can I do? Because no matter what they do, they continue to lose ball games. And I watched them lose to the Baltimore Ravens when he had 400 yards, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. It's got to be frustrating, but you got to give the Pittsburgh Steelers, Mike Tomlin, Russell Wilson. This is the second highest yardage total of his career. Probably his best game as a pro, 29-38, 414, my apologies. 3 touchdowns, the 1 interception that was it was controversial, to say the least. But he just really performed at a high level when they needed it. Obviously, this defense isn't great, but he's taken advantage of it just like everybody else has. He executed, got the ball to George Pickens when he needed to. He had 3 catches for 74 yards to touchdown. Had some huge plays. Pat Freiermuth, 6 catches for 68 yards. But they continue to show a balanced attack. Najee Harris, 16 carries, 75 yards. They're just doing what they need to do to win these games. And Mike Tomlin, with his 19th straight winning season, or 18th straight winning season without a losing record. What more can you say about him? It'd be really, I know Dan Campbell obviously has a case for Coach of the Year. I think Tomlin is right there with him. Sirianni with what the Philadelphia Eagles are. Fans were calling for his job early in the season. Here he is at the number 2 seed, 10-2 at this point in the season. He's going to have a case for it. Kevin O'Connell with a Minnesota Vikings team that I don't know is as talented as their record is, but you are what your record is, I guess. Pittsburgh Steelers deserve a ton of credit. Their defense, which has been really great this season, was not great this day, but the guy who's always great, no matter what everybody else does, is T.J. Watt. He had 2 sacks, the forced fumble on Joe Burrow. I love the way he plays. Because on that play, most guys would have went to wrap up or for a tough hit on the quarterback and to knock him to the ground and gave the quarterback the ability to cock his arm back and throw. All T.J. Watt did was slap the elbow. I reached as far as I could and slapped the elbow. That's as close and as fast as I can get to the quarterback and impact the play. Joe Burrow drops the ball, huge play in the ball game. That just goes to his football IQ, his impact as a player, all the positive things. Just a heck of a player and a heck of a play. 5 quarterback hits in the game. They play the Browns next week, and we watched Jameis and those guys beat them in that snowy, icy game where we're doing snow angels at the end. But this one is in Pittsburgh. So we'll see if they can repeat that performance. I'm sure they'll see some vulnerabilities based on what the Bengals were able to do, but, we'll see. Football's football.
Steelers are going to want their revenge. Let's talk a little about Russell Wilson here, though, Rich. I mean, these last 2 years in Denver were ones I'm sure he wishes were not on his career resume. Ultimately forgettable. And then he gets his way to Pittsburgh. You know, he's in a QB battle with Justin Fields, and ultimately, you know, injures his calf prior to the season and works his way into the starting position. And now he's playing some of the best football of his career. You can see his confidence level. You can see him getting his receivers involved, and George Pickens, and now we see Pat Fryermuth do his thing today. Russell Wilson looks really comfortable out there, and as you know, I mean, he can win these big ball games. What's the difference between this year and the last prior 2 years for Russell Wilson?
Well, I think it's it's a combination of a lot of things. He's got a coach that believes in him. He has a very solid system around him. He's shown some humility. You don't hear the interviews and things that the catchphrases and things like that he showed in Denver, where it just seems like he was trying to separate himself from the Seattle Seahawks and really identify himself as an individual that plays at a high level, that needs to be recognized week in and week out. I think right now he's just staying with the team atmosphere. You don't hear anything after press conferences outside of what you need to hear, the questions that are answered. I think Mike Tomlin's done a great job of managing the expectations from him and with him, having really honest conversations with him. The way they're coaching him, Arthur Smith has done a great job coming up with a game plan that really focuses on his strengths and spotlights the things that he does really well and keeps him out of the things that he doesn't do well. They have a really good run game, and he's just played good football. I mean, you got to give him credit. He's thrown the ball well. He's been accurate on the deep ball, which has been a standard and stalwart of his career. But these aren't the best receivers in the world. It's not like like these receivers have been outstanding for their entire career. Calvin Austin is catching touchdown passes. George Pickens caught a touchdown pass. Fryermuth has been solid throughout his career, but you wouldn't put this as a top 5, top 10 offensive weapons core in the National Football League. And so he has elevated them in a very cool way, especially this game. But the Bengals didn't do themselves any favors with the way they played some of these things. But you got to give them credit for doing what they needed to do and executing at a high level. A really big time game coming up against the Browns that they're going to have to win to continue to keep that lead in the AFC North, with the Baltimore Ravens taking a really head scratching loss that we just talked about, and now 8-5, a team that people are talking about 2 MVP candidates and likely won't be MVP candidates regardless of the seasons they have because of how far they've fallen off as a team in that category. It's hard to have MVP candidates when you're not in the top 4, top 5 in the National Football League's records-wise. It looks like their division to have right now. If they continue to play as they have and continue to, and Mike Tomlin is he's the symbol of consistency in the National Football League right now.